Hello, welcome. So in today's episode, we're just adding tracking functionality and also submitting the data to the database and also persisting some of the data so that we can be able to update our forms. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what you're going to build in today's video. So we all know how to reach on this point. A user signs up as a doctor, and then he will finally be directed to the onboarding with a specific user ID. So if he reaches here, we're just going to go ahead and fill in some information just like this, and he will just click on this save. So if the doctor is created, the profile is created, one thing you can see that we have created this person a tracking number. So you can see here, your tracking number is this, and you can see in the brackets here saying, use this to check the status or resume application. So the user must copy they should just copy their status or this tracking number to be used in the future. So you can see also that the person was redirected to the next step, which is profile information. So when he just goes ahead and fills in the data, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the data, pick a date, just like that. The image you can change, I'm just going to leave that. Save. So you can see now he has been redirected on the contact information. So you can just go ahead and fill all this. Okay. Now I'm just going to go one more step, fill in all this information now, and all this is being updated. Save, and you can see is redirected to the education information. And by the way, we're adding the toast notifications. And now is on this. You can just go ahead and add, but let's just say he decides to stop on this step. Okay, so if he decides to stop on this step, and we want to see, can we retrieve back using this tracking ID? I'm just going to copy it. Can we retrieve this person back to this step? Okay, so I'm just going to go, let's say he now goes off, he clicks somewhere. So we no longer have that page. So he goes back to list your service. Of course, you're just going to add these things here, like for instance, track your what or resume application somewhere. But right now, let's just go to this point where it says resume your application. Now, when he clicks on continue your application, he is redirected to this resume page. The resume page is told resume your application, please enter the 10-character tracking number that was given to you. And then here is tracking number. You can enter the tracking number like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in a wrong tracking number to test. So just enter any tracking number and submit. Okay, so the first thing you see, wrong tracking number, please check the number and enter again. So now let's go and enter the right one, which was this one. Submit. And you can see, guys, we have been redirected to the page that was clearly that we are on. Okay, and by the way, they take us, we were on education, but we didn't fill in any here. So this information, of course, cannot be tracked because we didn't fill in this one. The information that was last filled in was the contact information up to this step. So we are on to this step. We don't have the data yet to show him. Of course, we are going to work on this, but right now we can retrieve back to the exact point where he was in the beginning. And that's what you're going to look at in this episode. If you want us to jump in, let's go in and get started. Hello, everyone. So welcome back to this episode. So in today's episode, I want to focus on three things. Okay. Um, the first thing is that we should be able to save all the information from the all the steps. Okay. So I know from the previous video we had two pending things. We did not complete the saving of all the forms to the database. Okay. And then a task was to design and implement the availability form. Now for the availability form, we need to give it some good time because it has some good logic. In today's episode, I want to concentrate on these first four forms, actually five forms, five or six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to concentrate on the first six forms, and we make sure a user can actually fill in the information from all these six forms. They should be able to submit the data to the database, and they update the profile, okay, of the doctor. And when the doctor goes back, as he's browsing through, should be able to see the information in these forms. Okay, so that one's going to be our first target. The second target is we need to see how we're going to maintain the state of our data throughout, and how we're going to obtain the new profile ID of the newly created form, and we are going to use context. Now, I wanted to use Redux, but in this case, we are only keeping the fact that we are only keeping some things in state in the URL. There was no need of actually keeping a lot of stuff, and that resulted into using like context API. I think context API is easy to set up, and for this scenario, whereby we have simple data and most of the data we are saving it to the database direct, there is no need of setting up Redux. Now, if you want Redux, I could make a separate video for Redux, more especially how to use it in TypeScript. For this case, I might actually go with context. Okay. So, and then another thing, the third one actually is to be able to retrieve at the end of the day the form details. Let's say someone at the end of the day, um they have uh they close this tab and they want to get back to the form, or they want to resume application. We are going to sort of see how to add that functionality at the end of the video. So, without further ado, let's get in. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and like button so that we can keep great content that you like. Okay? So let's just get started. So in the previous video, we actually set up and were able to submit this form. Okay, so we could save this first one. We save everything. We are able to get the page we are on. We're able to get the ID, the user ID. We're able to get a lot of things. Okay, the user ID, the page, and blah blah. And if you check in our form, this biodata, you set the most of the information actually we have here. We went ahead and also generated a tracking number, of which we just add to the database. So the first thing we need to understand in this case, okay, let's first understand the flow of the app, and then later on we know the steps we want to take. So when a user he has registered, he has been sent an email code, he has entered the verification code, and he has been redirected to onboarding. So when he reaches on the first form, which is the biodata, okay, which is the biodata, and by the way, that's why you see here, even if you don't have this and you refresh, you must at least be taken to the biodata because it is by default the default. Okay, so he was redirected onto the biodata, and now onto this step is going to fill in his first information. So when he fills in the first information, there are two things we want to happen. When he clicks on, of course, save and continue, he is asked to validate the data, blah, blah, and he goes ahead and fills in the information. Okay, so when he adds in the information and he clicks save and continue, what we want is a new doctor profile should be created at this point. Okay, it's going to be initiated with first name, last name, and all this data he has generated. And at that point, what we want is we need two things from this. The first one, we need to get the tracking number, okay? Because at that point, the form has been generated and he can actually stop on this step and he even comes back later on. So in this case, okay, in this case, when he leaves at this point, at least he should go with two things. His tracking number, so that means like the tracking number should be generated, and after the tracking number has been generated, it should be displayed on the screen. Okay, it will be generated on the screen, like displayed on the screen, so that he can actually write it down so that he can use it the next time he comes to resume his application. Now, that is one thing. The second thing is that we need to get also the profile ID of the form. Why? Because when we go to the next step, we want to update the profile information on the existing profile, doctor profile. That means to update the profile, we need an ID. Okay, so that means that two things we need from this: the tracking number plus the doctor profile ID. So when we have those two things, now we can be able to manipulate other remaining things. For instance, how are we going to get this data back? So the first time you go and create the profile, one thing that you should know is the profile can give you this data back that has been created. Then we can pass that data to the use state, no, to the use form. And then the use form can be able to generate this data or persist this data. That is one thing. Then when we go to the second one, we're going to use the same technique of getting the updated information. Okay? Okay, so let's just try to set up and see if we can get. So we need to get a global way of keeping those two things, the tracking number plus the profile ID. Okay, so the doctor profile ID, we need it plus the tracking number. So that's why we are going to use context API to do that. And we might save other information as we move on, because I haven't tried this. Actually, I just thought about it and I'm just telling you the plan right now, and you're going to execute it together. And I'm not sure if this is going to work. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is actually set up the context. Okay, so you can set up the context as a component, or you could just come into your app and just simply create outside here. You create up a folder. I think that is the better way of creating a folder outside here. You could create it in config, or you could simply create outside here. You create a new folder called context. And then inside the context, we can just create there something like context, okay, dot. Now, if this is supposed to be TSX or TS, because it's going to be holding a provider. Can you just like make it TSX? I don't know. So there are three steps I always use, and to understand the context, or to remain understanding the context. So how I understand the context? Okay, I understand the context as same as use state. If you already know use state at a global level. So I take it to be something like use state at a global level. What do I mean? It's like I want to keep a name. For instance, I want to keep the track of a name. Okay. So what I would do is, in the use state, you could keep track of the name within a single component. Let's say you have a biodata component and you can keep the name within that component and you track of it. The context API, on the other hand, it does exactly the same thing, but it is keeping it throughout the entire app. Okay, So for instance, okay, we have, for instance, the context. So you could just say here interface, and I just said you could start creating an interface, or we could actually start with the steps so that we don't forget. So steps for creating context API. Context API. Okay, why I write the steps all the time is that even in myself, I want to remind myself so that I remain on track. So the step number one is you have to create and export the context, create and export, create and export the context. Okay, create and export the context. Create and export the context. Okay, so for instance, we could just say const onboarding context. So you say onboarding context. So this is the name. Okay, so you could actually even just say export default, but you say const export is equal to create. I think there is a function called create context from React. Okay, just like this. And of course, you can see here, we could just go ahead and export. Now you could export default this, export default onboarding context. As simple as that. That is the step number one, create and export the context. Now, if you look at the error, argument default value was not provided. So you can see it actually needs the default values, okay? And the default value is to understand our initial data. So you could just say, first of all, you could just go and put the step number two. Step two, we could just say now, define the shape of the data you want to track. Okay, so just say that. For instance, we could just come here and we say that interface. Okay, for instance, interface, and we could just say onboarding context types or context data. I just say onboarding context data. Okay, and you could just like write this on a calculator or something. Do I need to write onboarding onboarding? Okay, and you just say make it I. So yes to know it is an interface, and you could just define exactly what I want to deal with. Okay, so I want to deal with two things. I want a tracking number. Okay, we want to keep track of the tracking number, which should be a string. Okay, and then next we want to keep track of the profile ID. We could call it form ID. I don't know. We could just call it doctor profile ID. Okay, doctor profile ID, which is also actually string. Now, as you can see, we don't want only to keep track of these ones. We actually also want to keep track of what we mean keeping track is that I want to get the existing tracking number, or actually set existing tracking, set a new tracking number. That means for each of these ones, they have, because if you remember in the context, as I told you here, that context is same as you state. So at a page level, we could say something like const tracking number. we could just say const tracking number is set tracking number. Set tracking today. Tracking number is equal to use state, just like this. And maybe just say by default to this one. So this is how you track. You have one, you have the variable you are tracking plus the function that is going to update. Okay, so that means if you are going to track, we need both of these ones. We need the tracking number plus the set tracking number. Okay, set tracking number. Now, how do you define this? This would be taking in a number, I guess. We could just say it takes in a number, which is actually a string, and then it returns void. It doesn't actually return anything serious. It takes in the tracking number, which is a string. By the way, like this is a tracking number. Just say t number, and then it returns in this. Okay, it takes in a tracking number and returns void. And the same thing for the doctor profile ID. We need to keep track of it. So you have doctor set doctor profile ID. Okay, set doctor profile ID, which is the same thing. It takes in an ID, which is a string, and then it returns void. And this is actually the only thing just need to be doing. So we define the shape of the data that we want to track. Okay, so here define the shape of the data you want to track. Okay, step number 3, let's go ahead and initialize. So in the step number 3, so initialize, so you can just say now initialize. Okay, initialize the context, the context. By the way, we could just do it the other way around, I guess. We could start by defining the shape data you want to track, set the initial data. I think let's just interchange these, I guess, to make it chronological. Step number 1 becomes this. Step number 2, this. Step number 3 becomes this. So that in the first place, we define the shape that I want to track. Step number 3, define. So here you could just say define the initial data. Okay, you could just say define the initial data. And then there are two ways you could do this. Okay, since this is what we are tracking, we could just define that by default it is null. Okay, just going to see that. So define the initial data if the initial data exists. Okay, and then step number 3, create the context and export the context. Then step number 4 would be add the context. So I feel like we are going to create unnecessary steps. Are all these like steps or tasks in one step? Let me just first see that. So here you're supposed to add now add the types to the context. Okay, add the types to the context and initial data. Okay, initial data. Now I'm not so sure for the purposes of setting the initial data if we need to define these two here. Okay, we're just going to see. So add the types to the context and initial data. So you just come here and just say that this is going to be of type I onboarding. Okay. Why is not seeing that onboarding? What? Can I just like see this? Something like this. It's just because I put it very far. And then here we could just go ahead and add the initial data. Okay. And you could just say, for instance, you could just even say null, I guess. And then here you could just say owner, something like this. And we don't need to put in an object. I think we just say passing null, as simple as that. Say by default, we actually don't have any data. So this is, I think, step number one. Let me just like put all these 4 tasks. Okay. Let me just add space. So these ones, I'm just going to put them. Let me just duplicate this. And then I'm just going to say creating context API. Step number 1 is creating and export the context. Okay. Then so it has all these tasks here. Instead of putting it so much. Now, in this step number 2 is actually create and export the context provider. And the step number 4 is actually also create and export the use context hook. Okay. Of course, the last step is wrap the entire app with the provider. Okay, with the provider. You can just go and take a screenshot of this so that you can always remember these steps clearly. Okay, so in the second step, we create the provider. I could just say RFC or just say export. Okay, export function. Now that we have only already some export default one, we cannot do anything else. So export function, I'm just going to say export function. We could just say onboarding context provider. Okay, and this is just a normal function. The only thing is that it actually takes in children, which represent the pages, and then it will have to come and return what is to return? To return is, I think, context dot provider something like this. I'm not so sure. Does it take in the created context? Let's see. Let's first remove this. So where is the created context? This one's supposed to be. All these are supposed to be down. Okay. Let's just put it just down here. Okay. So it's supposed to take in context. Do we need to import the context or something? Wait a second. Context dot provider. Export onboarding context supposed to be context. Where do we get this context? Is supposed to be the one we created onboarding context. I feel like they supposed to. Okay, let me just cross check in my old cheat sheet. Just go to where do I have my cheat sheet? In the readme, I guess. There is a video I created about the context. Let me just go and see. I think I also leave this link, and this was in TypeScript. By then, I just need to look at the return. It is the cat, for instance, we created the context. Let's just go and see export provider. Just go in the last one. In the last one. Okay, so the context was supposed to be in capital because it is the one we used to create the provider. Yeah. Okay. Great. So the context we create. So now, actually, in this step, we could just say, okay, use the created context to create and export the provider. Okay. So that means here we just go and say this onboarding context. So suppose that is capital. Okay. So this onboarding context to create it, we use it to actually create the provider. Okay. So onboarding context dot provider. Okay. Of course, then it has some value. Okay. It has some value. And now this value needs something. Now let's first annotate the children. We know very well that children are of type React node. So children React node. Yep. So now what do we need to export? Okay. So if you want to know the things you want to export, are these things actually you have here? Okay, because these are the things you want to share across the whole entire app. You want to share all these things here. You want to share throughout the entire app so that you can actually get access to them. For instance, so you could just come here and you say that uh, context values, the context values, you just say is equal to, so we have, for instance, the tracking. Okay. And by the way, so you come here and create the state using these two things. Okay. So this thing here, for instance, you could just come here and say const tracking. Okay. Tracking number, set tracking number, set tracking number is equal to use state, just like this. And then the second one is the doctor profile ID. So doctor profile ID. And then this one is set doctor profile ID. Set doctor profile ID. Just like this is equal to use state. Now you could just give these ones by default null, as just like this. We just leave them empty because we all define that they are going to be null. here in the context. Okay, so now these are the values you want to send or to track. These four things you want to send to keep track of the tracking and set tracking, because you want to get the tracking, use it, and set tracking to update it. You want the doctor profile and set doctor profile. Okay, so just add these. All these ones are the values you want to have access throughout the entire app. I want to get access to tracking number, set tracking number, doctor profile ID, set doctor profile ID across the entire app. So then after get these values are the ones I want to share here. Okay, so here tracking number, and I defined set tracking number, set state action, blah blah. This is not assignable to okay, type of tracking number are incompatible, and the final settable type string. Okay, and it's just because here we could just say we define them just like this. Yep. So you could just like initialize them with an empty string. Now we are good to go. And this one, we actually updated it to onboarding. Okay, so at this point, we are so clean. Okay, we have two steps done. Okay, so here, create and export. So this is the another step. Use the created context to create and export the context provider. So the context provider has been created. And by the way, in between here is where we put the children. So you just come here and we put the children. Don't forget to do that. Okay. Now the second last, is that the second last or the last? Okay, so the second last is to create and export the use context hook. So you can just come down here and you just say export. Okay, export function, and this is going to be use context. Okay, and this we could just say use onboarding context. Use onboarding. I'm just going to try this. Use onboarding context. So just create a custom hook, and the purpose of this hook is just simply to return, okay, return use context, and this will get from React, and then we pass in the created context, which is actually onboarding context. As simple as that. So we export function use onboarding context, and this one, this use is the one which is going to be giving us all these values. So all these values, we are actually getting them to here. So we're just going to be calling use onboarding context, and then we extract whatever values we passed in here. Okay, so the final step is now to wrap the entire app with our provider. So you just go to the layout, and this could be the front layout or the entire layout. So you could just go to this whole layout. We already have a lot of providers. We could just go ahead and also wrap our provider here. So wherever you put it, I just going to come here, and you can just see onboarding context provider, just like this, and inside put this. Done. Wrap the context provider on the whole entire app. Now we should be able to go anywhere, okay, in our app, and we get access to things we have in here. Okay, for instance, let's go and try it. Let's go to anywhere like here, and we could just say const. So you could just go anywhere here inside. Okay, let's just say, do we need to keep this is profile? There's no need of keeping this, I guess. and expiry. So just say for instance, we could just say for instance, get context data. Okay, how do we get the context data now? So if I just go inside here, I could just say something a const, and then I could just get things from use onboarding context. Okay, this hook we created here is the one to give us things. Okay, so here we could just go ahead and just say get me for instance, I would want to get the tracking. Okay, the tracking number. Okay, I would want to get access maybe to set tracking number, for instance, set tracking number. I would want to get access to also, for instance, the profile. What do we call it? Doctor profile, doctor profile. And you could just, by the way, just go to the context and get these. These are the ones here. Just get these four, and just come here, for instance, paste these. They copy the object or copy these things inside. Okay, I could just go ahead and just get these ones from the context. All these elements are unused. Really? Okay, so you just go ahead and say, for instance, console. Why are they giving us these ones? All the structured elements are unused. Proper tracking number does not exist type on I tracking number. Oh, by the way, just a second. What is the spelling of tracking? Okay, we have, look at this, guys. So the word tracking, does it have like TRA or TRU? Tracking. Jesus. Like, is it TRA? Are I serious right now? Like tracking? Tracking. Is it like the spelling they call this tracking? Is you guys can't be serious. Like I'm searching right now, tracking definition, the art of it conveying articles or goods on track. Just say use TRU for God's sake. So just going to just say make TRU tracking. Okay. And just like make sure I'm just using TRU everywhere. Okay. Just make sure to be consistent. Set tracking of TRU. And then in this should get like tracking TRU. Okay, so what is the problem, guys? Use onboarding context. Did I just foresee? Use onboarding. Okay. I didn't expect this. That does not exist type onboarding context data. Then this set tracking does not exist on type onboarding context data. Now, hmm. Are we serious right now? Okay, let's just see in this article I wrote. So you just say, like, for instance, we created the context and cat context. Create the context, you passing in the use context. Okay. Then when you come down here, we have, for instance, products, set products. Okay. Then loading, set loading, cart, set cart, and then do the whole thing, update, blah, blah. Then we have context value, then do that. Where are we mistakening? Context value I'm sharing, I don't know why. You're supposed to get use context. And I'm seeing everything, just getting it, you're structuring it from use context. Okay. Let me first write console reference tracking number. Okay. I don't understand that for now. Let's just first go. Oh. What is going on? What's going on, guys? Wait. You're importing a content needs. You are importing a component needs. Create and it only works in client. Okay, that's great. I mean, it's like in. So where are we supposed to put client? Here we have use client. Are you supposed? Is it just because this is having this? And you say use client, use client. Okay, so using client is does this solve the problem right now? Let's see. Okay, so the first problem has been solved. Okay. Can I just clear all this and then refresh? Maybe just get something. Right now I'm having biodata. Oh, where are we getting that? The data. One, we have on 7. We have a lot of places with the data. We have the page, onboarding steps. We have title. Okay. You have this, then you have this data here, component. Okay, it's okay. Then this was line 37. Biodata. Where do we export this context? Create doctor profile, use context. Mm-hmm. Line 37 is the one that gives us this null. I think this null by default. And one thing I think in the context we can just be clear is that we don't necessarily just need this right in here, and that is for sure. We can just like define all the data we just want, and to make sure that these are working, I can just go here, remove this, and then set an object, and I say tracking number, for instance. By default, let's just give it tracking number ABC. What is this? Okay, we could also just say const initial data is equal to, okay, this has to be an object. Which type of data is this? How are we accessing that? Like tracking number. Mm, it has to be the same format like this. Tracking number like ABC, and then doctor profile ID. Just get this doctor profile ID. Let's say 123. And then for this, they just come and say initial data and see. Okay. So we have the initial data. Uh, Now the error goes here. Hmm. Okay. Let's just go and see. So do we get a number? Refresh. Do we get something here? 37 is still giving us nothing. What's going on? Okay, so clearly we have these. The error on these ones are gone. The set profile does declare then say does not exist on type onboarding context. Okay. It's okay. Let me first remove it. Just like this. Okay. Mm-hmm. Console.log tracking number and also the profile, doctor profile, just like that. I don't know if our context is working because really I'm not getting anything right now. 32 is not giving me anything. Everything is null. Okay. Uh, why? Why? Okay, so just go to the context. Mm, we have the interface initial data. We pass it in here, the initial data. We came here and we passed in. Is it supposed to be value or values? Is it value? I think it's value. Okay, so we pass in this. Just go ahead and see this here. Mm-hmm. So in the wrapping, do we wrap uh, use context? Is that the only one? Because after sending this now, you could just go and use in the main component, use that context just like that. Yeah, just like looks like see as simple as that. Hmm. Mm, so just a second. Let me just first think about this. So after just like 2 minutes, so I was laughing at myself. So the first thing, the first thing we did is you can see we have in the context. But this is good, guys, for these errors to happen because we solve them in real time. And even me, like, this is to show you that I don't first prepare the videos, I do them right away. But Actually, the error is amazing. So we are putting the initial data here, and we're also setting the initial data here. You can just see here we have tracking number, set tracking number, and the initial state is here. And so when we just come and access it, it is giving us an empty string here, and I cannot see that. Okay, so if we don't need to set anything, so initially this has to be nothing. Okay, just like this. Okay, this has to be nothing, or we could just actually have used the other trick of setting the data initially on this. But let's just go and use this concept. Initially set these ones off and this one. So if we want to see something, we could just come and say, for instance, tracking number is 12345, and then profile ID is maybe 6 blah blah. Okay, so if you just right now I just go to check on this here, I can just refresh. Yeah, it is refreshing the page itself. Now you can see that we should be having the numbers. You can just clearly see we have the data here. Okay, so the initial data that is seen is what we set here in use state. Okay, so clearly now the first of our problem, we can get the values. Okay, I was just like, what the heck now, guys? What's going on? But right now, at least we have the tracking number, Dr. Profile ID, so we need to get this set. Okay, so for the set, if you just come here and we add the set, so you just come here and we say set. In fact, let's just go back to the context, copy these four the way they are. Okay, and you'll see that it, of course, do this. It tells us a tracking number does not exist on the type onboarding state, and this is actually where we started from. I did just like upload to the steps we did exactly here. Define the shape of the data you want to track, and that means that set tracking, they all need to be here. So for instance, set tracking number has to be here, and this is a function, just tracking number, set tracking number. So this is a function that takes in a any value that is a string, okay, and then returns void. Okay, and then the same thing to the set profile. So set Dr. Profile, set Dr. Profile ID, it takes in a value and it returns void. So after doing this, we have to go ahead also add them in the initial data. So in the initial data, to avoid problems, we can just say set tracking number, for instance. Okay, and we say this is just something that returns this. The same thing to the Dr. Profile ID, just add this. Okay, just like this. What have I done? Put a comma here. Okay, so clearly you can see now we are good. So just set your functions, just make sure you set the functions here, and then in the initial data, just make them like this. Okay, that is great. Now let's just go ahead and do the magic. Okay, let's go ahead and do the magic. So I'm just going to go to, now we have ability to run a set. Okay, so in the biodata, now we can just use set and set Dr. Profile. Okay, so here we have two things. So when we have a new profile is equal create Dr. Profile. Okay, we need to set this globally. So before we route here, we need to set some things globally. Okay, so we don't need this tracking to add it here. We don't. Just remove this. Okay, so this tracking number, let me just see data.tracking number. So I'm just going to simply copy actually this. So I'm just going to remove this from here. So this one is just going to route to this next page, which is okay. So here, I'm just going to simply say set. So first thing is the tracking number. So you can just say set tracking number to this. Okay. What is data? Okay. Supposed to get from this new profile. The last time we checked, the new profile had issues. The time we tried to get it gave us some problems. It said that this does not exist. I don't know what that meant. Okay. Let me just first plug in. Second. I wonder why this return, because we are returning a new profile, and the new profile has this tracking number as a string here, and there's this need. You can see clearly here we have all this profile picture and blah blah. Now here is saying tracking number does not exist on type. It a string. What are we returning back from this? So we create a new profile, and then we return this. Okay. There is also here this possibility, I guess. Okay, so you just say just handle this properly. So we can just return status. So just say, for instance, data is going to be new profile status. Okay, and you can just say 200, or could just even just say 201. The resource created successfully, and errors is like errors or error to null. So you could just like return this. Okay, and then the same thing when there is an error, we could just return a consistent object here, just like this, return, and data to be null. Status, for instance, it could be status of 500, and then the error we could just say something went wrong. Something went wrong. Okay. Now, after doing this side, we could just come here. Now, at this point, we could first check some things, by the way. So in this, before I put this, we could just say if, okay, so for instance, this, we could just call this as response. Okay, and then we just say if raise dot. So now you see we have three things. Dot status is equal to 201. Okay, now we could just paste in this. Now we could just come and say, for instance, const tracking number, I guess, Can I define it here? Const tracking number is equal to raise dot data dot, and you can see now we have it nicely. So raise dot data dot tracking. What? It doesn't have it. Where are we getting this information? Accomplishments, board, education, gender, hospital, insurance, last name, middle name. Do you know we did save the tracking number is there. Okay, that is TRA, guys. TRA, not TRU. Okay, so here we could just say set tracking number to tracking number. Okay, great. Okay, I could just now simply just do this instead of creating any redundant. Do this. Okay, remove this. And why is this string or undefined instantiated parameter of type string? And we could just say this by default, just give it empty string if this is not there. Okay, this same thing we just need to do what? The second one is the profile, so we need to set the profile. So set profile doctor profile ID to raise dot data dot ID. Okay, so we have the ID here, just like this. Now, of course, here is console.log raise dot data. Okay, just like this, and we have good error handling. I like it. Okay, so now, so after this has happened, we are sure now we are setting these globally. Okay, and to know that we are setting these globally, let's go and access them somewhere else. For instance, in the form steps. So I'm just going to copy this hook and just go to the form steps, onboarding form steps. So onboarding form steps on top here. So here we have this course span. This is where the form is. I just want to first go on top here and I get the tracking number. Okay. So I'm just going to just come and paste these ones, get the use onboarding context, and from these ones we simply want the tracking. We don't want to set anything. We simply want the tracking plus the doctor profile ID. So can I just go and put this somewhere like on the UI? Okay, so for instance, if I just come here and I say p tag, okay, and I just say if, so if I just put something here, for instance, profile ID, okay, and then I also have the tracking ID. So if I just put those ones, where are they going to show up? Okay, so they are showing up here. Okay, they are showing up here. So, okay, so now let's go ahead and try to create. Okay, I'm just going to try to create. So just go ahead, do a fake fill and pick a date. Okay, let's go and pick a date. And for that case, can we first clear the things we just added in the context? Where is the context? Here. there are these initial things we added here. Okay, so you're good to go now. This refreshes the page. Okay, great. So I'm just going to go ahead. So now, right now, you can see that they are empty. So just go ahead and create the biodata. Can we save and continue? So I'm just going to, so by the way, I'm also going to do what? I'm also going to get, before we submit that, a second. So in this, we have the data. So you can just come here. I'm just going to have saved data somewhere. So on top here, where we have the use form, it is taking in biodata props. Okay. So can we just come here and, for instance, I want to provide the default values. Okay. I want to provide the default values for this. Okay, anyways, let's first leave that aside. Let's handle one thing at a time. So right now what we want to see is a tracking and the profile ID. So I'm just going to go ahead and submit in some data. So save, put here, pick a date, say 17, and just save. Something, did we even have a toaster? So I'm just going to go on the terminal to see if I have something. Let's see. So clearly we have, this was created, tracking number, blah blah, first name, blah blah. Okay, so tracking number here, and we are consulting the tracking number. Let's just go and see down. Yep. So you can just see here now, the tracking number is here, and this, you can see they have been set. Okay, they have been set, though we don't have them here on top here, but they have been, we have them here, they have been set in state. So if I go to any other page, and we have been also redirected to the profile page. Okay, so instead, so if I just go to this page, let me try to access these created thing. So I'm just going to go to the profile, additional information, profile information. So what I just want to do is, what if I just try to access these ones? Do I have them? Okay, so if I just say const, I want, for instance, the tracking number, and also the doctor profile ID is equal to use context. Okay, use onboarding, remember. Okay, and let me just go ahead and maybe display these ones here. I can just go anywhere, maybe on top of the title here. Let me just put a p tag, and I'm just going to say tracking number is going to be dollar tracking number. Let's just see. Come on. Yep. So we have the tracking number. Okay, are you seeing that, guys? So you have the tracking number, and we can also just say we have the doctor profile. So doctor profile. I can just come here and say doctor profile is what is that? Doctor profile is doctor profile. Doctor profile is doctor profile. Okay, and I have the doctor profile. Okay, great. So I can use now this information to update more things. Okay, I can just use this information now to track more things, and here's what we're going to do. So one thing we just need to do is on top here, we need to clearly show this tracking number. You see, for instance, use this tracking number to do whatever he's doing. So in this page, we are going to show him the tracking number. The doctor profile ID, we don't need to show him because we could just use a combination of the tracking number and the email address when we are checking, but they just use only the tracking number. The fact that it is unique. And if it is not unique, we need to change it right now. In Prisma, we have to make sure that our tracking number is unique. And they just see doctor profile tracking number is not unique. We have to make this at unique so that we can use it to query things. If it is not unique, then we cannot be able to query things. I'm just going to go here again. I'm just going to go here and I have to push this now that I've changed some things. I'm just going to say npx prisma db push, and then npx prisma generate, and then finally npm run dev. Okay, just to update this at unique, we have added here this I think that it will not cause problems. We can also stop the prisma schema. Okay, we can go ahead and stop the prisma schema. So when this runs right now, a new prisma client has been generated. I'm just going to go ahead and run the prisma studio. I'm just going to change also one more thing. So I'll first go to this profile and delete it so that we create another one. And I'm also going to change our tracking number. Instead of making it just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm also going to make it 10 characters so that we don't give any possibility of having same tracking numbers now that we are going to be relying on it to do a lot of things. So I'll just go on the doctor profile. So doctor profile, delete this. Okay, and let's just go to the biodata. Now we have this function, if you remember. Let me drop this. Remember we have this function generate tracking number. First of all, we could just like modify it and we take in the length, or we just come here and we put 10. So it will generate 10 characters instead of 8. That is giving no chances of having the same. Okay, so let's just go here, biodata. So this time we need to update, and let me just go ahead and go to this onboarding steps. First, remove these ones. It is not going to work in here. Okay, I think it is, we're not routing to that page. So what I'm just going to do is, So for it would be great if we added it in the onboarding steps. I don't know why it didn't update. I don't know why it didn't update. Wait. The onboarding steps. Wait a second. Oh, we actually didn't show these ones, did we? Let's just go ahead. We didn't just actually put them. We just simply define them up there. We didn't actually show them. They might be showing actually. So you just come here because this would be nice. We don't have to repeat on every page. So I'm just going to say doctor profile something. This is doctor. We actually just need only tracking. For the doctor track profile. Oh, it would be great also that we could just simply pass it as a param to these ones instead of just like going and we get it from each type. Yeah, I think that's great. So I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to go here just a second. My data is gone. Just a second, guys. Let me just first load data. Okay, so what we are saying that we need to put them on top where? Okay, here the tracking plus, so we only need actually the tracking. Okay, so we could just use a combination. We could use a combination of the tracking ID plus the email, but I feel like only a tracking number is required. So just use only a tracking number. So I'm just going to first put a tracking number of, so put just use, so I'm just going to say, for instance, use this tracking ID, which is just going to put tracking here, tracking number. Okay, use this tracking number. Check the status. So you could just use this tracking number. So you could just put the tracking number in between here. Check the status. Okay. And by the way, that's also something else. We are supposed to check to say the status. Okay, verification status. Check the status. Check. You can just say to resume application or check status. Okay, and we could just like go ahead and say right now, just like this. We haven't refreshed. Can I just refresh? Of course, when I refresh, it will go. I just deleted this, so we don't have any profiles right now. We'll create another one. Let me refresh. I'm refreshing. We just need to style this. Probably give it, I think, a border or something. So just a class name is equal. So I'm just going to give it a border bottom. border gray 200. Okay. And that means we don't need the tracking on these other pages like profile. We don't need to show these here. Okay. We just need to see this something like this. And we could just go ahead and put this in like a red color or something like this. And we want only this to exist if there is a tracking number. Right now, we actually don't have the tracking number, but let's first design it. Where is this? In here. Where is the onboarding steps? So use this tracking number. And we're just going to put a tracking number in a span. So just a span dot font board. Okay. Just like this. And we could just also give this a text. Maybe tier 600. Okay. For now, let me just put any tracking number. You could just give this so that we see. I don't know. It is not showing up. Maybe we'll just like say if. So you're just going to put any number for now so that you can just see what I'm designing. Okay. So just clearly we need to give it some small padding bottom of 2. Let's see. And we could also give it so we could just say your tracking number is, so we could just say your tracking number is your tracking number. Okay, is okay. Then in bracket here, I'm just going to write also another span of text extra small, and just say use this. Okay, so you say use this to check the status or to resume application. I think this is much better. So just put this in sort of like bracket, just like that. Yes, see. So your tracking number is, and then you can just say put in a bracket, something very small like that. Okay. Yeah. So I think this is okay. Let's just look on the big screen. Your tracking number is. Maybe we could just like design it in some other different ways to show him that it is important. That is enough. And this is on all forms. So it is great that you will be seeing it on all forms just in case. Okay. Yeah. So your tracking number is this. Use this to check the status or resume application. Okay. Okay, so now this is okay. We just generated a tracking number. You could just like make this text much better than this, but for now, let's just leave it like that. So we want only this text to show up if there is actually a tracking number. So this, I'm just going to wrap it in and say that if we have a tracking number, okay, if this is true, go ahead and add this, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add the tracking number. Okay, that's great. Now, for the other thing, we could just go ahead and pass in all these components. We pass them the profile ID. Okay, so just going to come here and I'm just going to pass it like maybe form ID. It will be more understandable. Form ID is equal to this. Okay, just copy this to all components. Okay. Now for the biodata, okay, it is not going to be required anyways. Okay, it's not going to be required. We'll make sure of that. So just pass this in all of them as easy as that. Okay. Okay, even availability, just going to go ahead and pass in this. Okay, so now we need to go and update wherever we are having the, I think it was in the biodata where we have this, we have to go ahead and add the form ID. I'm just going to say this is a string, but it is not required. Okay, sorry. This is a string, but it's not required. And I'm just going to sort of pass it in here. Okay. And you could just say by default, it is just empty string. Now we have some errors, and where this is coming from, probably availability. So availability is still using these old step from props. Let's just import these from the biodata. So we should be now good to go. So now that we are passing the form data, we can just go in each component and use that form data. Okay. So for instance, if we just go to the profile here, you can just go ahead and receive this. So in the profile, we don't just need to again call the context to get the tracking. Now, we could just call the tracking plus the profile just right away, just like this. I don't know if this is the easiest way or the hard way. I'm not so sure. But you have the two options. You can pass it as a prop from app, or you just access it direct from here. I don't know which one is easy. You can just tell guys and just do the one that you think is easy. So I'm just going to say here, I can get the form ID. Okay, so just going to use this form ID to do a number of things. Okay, yes, I can just pass it in here. We're just going to use it to create things in here. So let's just go ahead and prove our theory now. So I'm just going to go back to this biodata. And right now you can see we don't have anything. Okay, so just go ahead and create. Okay, and add the date of birth. Now let's go ahead and create this one. Okay, so this logged in user is this. So yes, keep consistency. So that's okay. The middle name, JB, and just say save and continue. So you can see now we have been redirected to the profile information, and they're saying your tracking number is this. Use this to check the status or resume application, and the user now can copy this and keep it for the purposes of retrieving the information. So now what we want right now, it's simply now get this data we have for this particular person. We send this information now and update the profile. So this is the profile information. So we need to update this. Okay. So we need to create the update doctor profile. So I'm just going to come here, assuming we have all the data. So let me just go and cross check. The one thing you need to cross check is what you have in your what you have in your types. Okay. You see, for instance, the profile data is supposed to have this information. So we make sure at the end of the day, we have this information. I'm just going to copy this, go back to the profile info, and the easiest way is to paste this here, and you can comment it out just like this. So you just make sure that your object contains all this information. Okay, so just like this. So I just want to go ahead and console the data and see the data I have. So just do this, inspect, console, clear this. Now let me just go ahead and do fake fill one more time, pick the date. Okay, the image is there. Save. Please select the date of birth. So we just need to go ahead and comment out this what we have here. Here we don't have the date of birth. We only have the expiry. Okay. And now take a note that if, for instance, this page is refreshed, this one would be lost. Okay. It would be necessary so like we keep it in local storage. But let's just the fact that we have it in a database, he should just go ahead and write this. If he doesn't, and then it will be problems. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and now try to get this data. So save. So just look at this information I have. Years of experience. Okay. The page, medical license expiry, medical license, the bio. So there's something we are missing. We supposed to have bio, the profile picture. So you're supposed to come here and say data dot profile picture is equal to, so what did we use here? Profile image is equal to the profile image. Okay. Now what else? So profile image, the bio page, medical license, years of expiry. So we are good. Let me do it one more time. Save. And this time we have all the necessary data. The bio, this. Now we have also to get the user ID. Do we need, this time we just need the profile ID because the user ID, actually we don't need it right now because we already know the profile. You're going to be updating the profile. Okay. So you can just get the profile. So we should just have a try catch here. Just say a try catch, and this try, of course, you can just say set is loading, set is loading to true here. Okay, so let me just wait here. I'm just going to say const updated. In fact, we're just going to say raise. The way we just handle it is await. So just going to go ahead and create the update action, serve action. So in this onboarding, do I have update by ID? Yeah, so I'm just going to copy this. Okay. I'll just paste it here. So I'm just going to say this is going to be update profile. Update doctor profile. So these two should take in ID plus the data. Okay, so the data here we pass in here is going to be also any. Okay, so just say try to update. So you're just going to have updated profile is equal to Prisma dot doctor profile dot update. So it takes in the ID and then the data. Okay, so here just going to take in the data just like this and return the. So now you're just going to return a nice thing that we returned here. Okay, this that to be consistent with the error handling. Even here, just going to return this. So here, just going to say updated profile. So this is what you're going to return here. And 201 error null for this one is going to be null 500 plus just say something went wrong. Or you could just say profile couldn't be updated. Profile was not updated. Okay, so this is how we are doing it. So we just pass in this ID and the data. So just go here, call this doctor profile in the profile here. So just go and try to await here. Sorry, import this. And then we pass in two things. The first one is the ID, which is we are calling the form ID plus the data, just like this. And this one is supposed to be a string or an undefined. And easiest way is to fix it from here, string or undefined. That's why we are just putting if ID here. Okay, great. So go back to the profile. Okay, so you pass in this. Now we can wait. Okay, we can wait. The good thing is we can just say, for instance, we could say this information also globally. So you say const raise is await updated doctor profile from ID data. So here would be getting the response, okay, which has the data plus the status and blah blah. So what do we want from this? And by the way, we're not using alert even in on this one on the biodata. I don't know why we didn't use the alert. Supposed alert. Okay, here for instance we use alert, which is toast actually. Toast dot success. Okay. So here you see doctor profile created. Okay. And then on these other pages, okay, after you have set is loading to false, we just set is loading to false. Yeah. Set is loading. Okay, so I think we are setting it here. We're just setting it when everything is done. Okay. Maybe here. So here set is loading to to false. So here just say set. So you could just say if, okay, raise dot status is equal to 201. We could just go ahead and say, first we could just say set is loading to false. Remember, even if when there is an error, we have set is loading to false. Okay. So the here we can just go ahead and say now in the future we just want to set this data as the initial data. Okay, so here I'm just going to say, for instance, extract. I would just want to extract the biodata. This is a profile, like profile from data from the updated profile. I think this is step we're just going to do for all of them. So right now what we want is, can we update this? Is everything okay? And I can just also go ahead and say console.log raise dot data. Okay, so that we just look at it. Okay, I think that is great. So we have all this information. Let's go and test it out. So also this side of the doctor, we need to go ahead and console it to be able to see it. So here, if everything is okay, if everything is okay here, before we return, I would want console.log the updated profile. Okay, I'm just going to go and do it and see what will happen. Okay, so for instance, medical license, I'm just going to say I have, for instance, cardiotherapy. I don't know if this exists. Cardiotherapy license, whatever. So this can be just a doctor's license. You have years of experience. Let's just put, for instance, something like 10. Okay. Expiry, you can set it, and then this biography. Let's just go ahead and save this. So I'm just going to go ahead, click save. And by the way, we have to go to the next step. So before we update the profile here, I'm going to go to the biodata. We're supposed to push this. Okay. Let me just go to this. Is it profile? So after everything is done, okay, just push this. So right now is user ID. Where are we getting this user ID? Didn't we pass the user ID on these things? Onboarding. We are passing the user ID here. Oh, I think they only need a user ID for routing. So you just go ahead and pass in the user ID. I guess this was not even required. You can just go and pass this, and it will be you'll be using we'll be using it for routing. Okay, so now we just go to the profile, and I'm just going to come here and just get the user ID. So just come here and say user ID. So the error must go now. Okay, so we have the next page. We also have next page, right? So you just come here, just also go here and say next, the next page. Okay. So we have the next page. Everything is okay. We can just go ahead and create. So let me just go here, assuming we have everything we need. Let me just go ahead and save. Saving, please wait. In fact, this one should say updating, please wait, or something like. Anyways, just leave it as saving. Should be having some issues. Let's keep the eye on this profile. It is not finishing. What is going on? We could just go and check on the console if we have any errors. Okay. Trailing comma is not allowed. Okay, so we have something here where they say where. So you can just see here they say this is supposed to be years of experience, supposed to be a number, I guess. Okay, so years of experience supposed to be a number. I just first check, is this an integer in the database? Let's just go and check a second. Tracking number, then we have profile image, and we have medical has to be date, and years is an int. Okay, so in the profile, what we just need to do is we have to do data dot this years of experience is equal to number of data dot years of experience, just like this. Okay, so after doing that, let's go one more time and do this. Okay, so now this is a point where we need to refresh. I wish we could just keep some of our information like the ID, and we could just like keep go ahead and so I've refreshed. Right now we don't have this ID. Okay, alternatively I'm just going to go and get it. Is there anything else we need to do? Okay, let's just go and create the profile. Pick a date, save. Just creating a new one, and we're going to sort of put also that and it should also be giving an error, I guess. Okay, must be having an error. You cannot have a unique constraint fade on Doctor user ID. Okay, so you cannot just create the second time. That is really for sure. Okay, and here we just want, by the way, for error purposes, I guess when you're getting a response, let's say here in else. Okay, can you say throw throw new error? Is it supposed to be like this? Throw new error, and you can just see something went wrong. So you see something went wrong. Okay, just also going to do this for and also set is loading to false. Okay, and you're just going to copy the same thing, put it in this biodata. So where is it? Here's okay. So now what I just want is to go and check the ID. Okay, so just refresh. I've got Prisma schema. I'm just going to go and get this doctor profile. Your Prisma Reload Studio. Maybe this one. Okay, so just need this ID. Okay, I just want this ID. I'm just going to set them, I'm just going to set as a default in the context. So let's just go and save this in the context. Here. So for the doctor profile, I'm just going to set this. For the tracking number, I'm also going to go and get this tracking number. For now, set it as the default. This, okay. So if we just have them there, we shall have them in our app. So you can see. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and try to create for this one more time. I think we should not have error right this time. Okay, let's just try to update. So put in some information, pick a date. Okay, scroll down here and just go and save. Okay, so you can see it was saved and we redirected to the contact information. If you check in the console, you just go and see, and it seems like everything went in well. Wait. It doesn't seem so. Profile, title, profile information. Okay, this is something else. Let me just enlarge this. Create. Okay, I think it is this one. Okay, title by data component now. Okay. How are you considering all these? Okay, so it is here. So you can see this. We want to update some things. I just want to see the. We can see now we have a profile picture. We have biodata. We have the you have experience plus all this kind of stuff. So guys, we are good. Okay, so we need now to keep on updating more information. So right now we have proceeded to the next step, which is the contact info. We still have our tracking and because we have the available information. So just go and see, first get the object for this. Okay. Um, and if you wanted, by the way, you could also the progress like on top here somewhere. Like there are three out of something, like for instance, 1, 2, 3. We can't just show them the steps they are on. If you wanted to track the step, could just say 1 out of 3 or something. You show them the this is very easy. You could just use context API, or you can just also use even here in this. Okay. Okay. So Your tracking number is this. So contact information, let's go to the contact. Just a second. Onboarding, and we have the contact info. So we have to get all these things we are getting on these other stuff we need. Get all the necessary things, all these, copy, and let's go to the contact info and let's get all these. Okay, form ID, user ID, and next page. And so here the first thing I just want to get is console.log the data. Okay, and as we said, just go and compare with the data from your types. So you can see profile we are done. So contact, we need this data. Okay, we need this data. And by the way, did we update the page? Let's just go and check. The page, yeah. So the page is profile. Okay, great. So now let's just go to the contact info. Data.page. So I'm just going to go down here and paste this information. So this is the object we need to send. The email, phone, country, city, state, and the page. So can we just go ahead and console.log the data so that we see what we have and what we are missing. So if I just come right now, feed in the fake data, try to call this. It adds city, country, email, page, phone, state. I think we have all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have them, all of them. Great. So just need to only just have this logic. I'm just going to go and copy it from this, from the profile info. So down here, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this try catch. So copy this try catch in the contact info, just like this, paste it here. So just need to get this. Okay, we pass in the form ID plus the data, and then we push to the next page with the user ID. Great. You can just also go ahead and console.log the data to see it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and submit this, and we see if everything is okay. So I'm just going to have this. Let's just go and put the email, for instance. So I'm just going to say, for instance, I am doctor at gmail.com. So that we just use this to see. So click on save. And we have been rated on the education information. Okay, checking on this, you can see now I just want to check the email, and you can see the email is I am doctor, and that's great. Only that we don't have set is loading at first, so we didn't get the spinner. Set is loading to true. Okay, set is loading to true. And if you just go down, everything is okay. So you're done with this form. We got the next one, which is education information. So here we are uploading all this stuff. The first thing I'm just going to do is getting the whatever we need here. This is the education. So I'm just going to go to the type. Okay. And the good thing, what we could just do is copy this try catch block. Go to the education. info. Let's go ahead and add this here. Set is loading to true. And you could just go ahead and get all these things here. Get the form ID. So form ID, user ID. Is there anything else? Next page. So yes, also get next page. Okay, one more error. Update, get this. So before you call this, things in the catch block, we need to first actually console.log. We need just to do this whole try catch before we bring it in. We need to first confirm we have the all necessary data to be on a safe side. So just go in your types and we are on this step. So on this step, we have this data, educational info. So come and paste it here. Okay, so just go and add in some data. Medical school, I'm just going to put at Kampala. Okay, medical school. Year of graduation 2020. Select, just have medicine. Now these ones will be coming from database specialization. Then add other specialties. Just say, for instance, lab technician. Okay, lab technician, add. And let's just see if another one is maybe general medicine or pharmacist or pharmacy. Okay, never mind about the spelling. Okay, then here we have to upload the documents. So just go ahead and put the academic documents. We just have 1, 2, what is one? Yeah. So just have these two upload. So these are PDFs. Okay, just go ahead and upload these ones. Okay. And just go ahead and upload those ones. Okay, great. You can just see here there. Okay, so I wish I would just get the URLs of these ones so that and they're here. So that in case we don't have to repeat them just in case they don't upload. But let's just go ahead and try to submit this. So if I just click save, okay, just go down here. Why is it already saving? Why? Is it because of the set is loading and we don't have where we are setting it false? And it should have console the data. Okay, it is here. Okay, so you just see Gradia Medical School page, pharmacy. We didn't add these URLs. Okay, so you can see clearly that we have other specialties need to be added. So just go ahead and say data dot other specialties is equal to, so we have these ones as other specialties, and then we have to have data dot what are we using here? Education. we have medical school. The information you have here is different. Okay. Bus board, they call them board certificates. Okay. Is equal to, so what do we call these ones? Docs. So we call them docs. Just like those. And then what else? Medical school, grad, primary specialization. What do we have here? Primary specialization is medicine, so that one is okay. Primary specialization is medicine. How are we getting the primary specialization? By the way, we need to change this input. We just need to change this input to use the one of shard. This one has some issues in the dark mode, but for now, I think we could just fix it right now instead of waiting. So if you just check, let me just copy these arrays for these. Can I just copy them? Is it possible? Control C. Can I just come, for instance, here where we have docs, and these ones, let me just first remove these. We don't need them. Can I just come to docs and save these? So for instance, it has to be an object like this. Okay. An object. So the second one is incomplete. The second one is incomplete. Just close this here. Put a comma here. To the first object. Now this is the second object. Okay. Just like that. What is the problem? Use. Okay, just put also this. Okay. Yep. So you just need title. You just give it any title. I'm just going to say comma title. Okay. Some document. Okay. Great. Do we have some errors? Is not assignable to file. What you're having here in the set docs. It's supposed to have also size. Okay, so the size. I'm just going to copy the same size here. Comma size. Okay, so we don't have any issue this side. Okay. So the error is on this. Data dot is not a same type string. What is this? So we have medical graduations, primary, other specialties, board certificates, a string array. So what is the complaint here? Is that this, we cannot set it to this. Okay. So we need to go ahead and do docs dot map. Okay. And yes, we'll have access to a single doc. And what we just need to return is simply just need to return doc dot URL only. Okay, so this is just going to create an array we can save into these ones. Okay, it seems we have all what we need. Let's just go and try see grad other specialties, board certificates, and all that. Okay, so now let's go and try to create an object here. I want to see the object. Just add some here 2020 my just see Kampala Medical School. Okay, so here as we said, other specialties as we can just say is lab tech, and I'm just going to add general medicine. Okay, wherever they are. Now just go ahead and just click on this, and we have it here. So we have board certificates, which is an array. We have grad, medical school, other specialties, and page, primary. So we are good. So we have all the information. I'm just going to go ahead and initialize the try catch. So come here and let's put this on. Okay. So this should be good now. I'm just going to go ahead and send the data. Okay. So you can just say set is boarding to true. And let's go ahead and send this data. Okay. We have everything. Your tracking is there. So save and continue. Okay, we just go to the practice information. Okay, so yes, we just need to get is first see if we have all this data. So that is great. And I think now with what we have done, you can go ahead and apply it on the practice and additional information. So let's just do one thing, which is tracking. Okay, we just need to do one thing, which is tracking. For this purpose, go ahead, you have seen how we are doing it. Go ahead and update all this information until you reach availability, which we will just work it on a different video. So you should just able to do now. We have done education. Do on your own practice information plus additional information. So this one, you should be able to send this into the database. So what we want is actually to do some tracking. So we have the tracking ID, the tracking number. So if we go to the page, let me just go to this page. I think it is join. So you say join. This page of join. Okay. If you just come to this page, you notice we have this here. Someone can start a new application. Okay. And we can just like redirect them. Here we have to check if they are logged in, or if they have done this, we can just say take them to the register if for some reason they are on this page, because even these ones, so it should have the same link like this one. Okay, we can just work on that. So on the join page, if you just go to the join, so it should be in the front pages. So app front join page. Okay, so if you just look at this, we have pricing. So I'm just going to first go to the pricing. What I want from the pricing is this link here. So just going to use this link. If someone doesn't scroll to the pricing and he simply clicks on start or begin a new journey, and he clicks on start on a new application, we should route him to this free plan automatically. So that is easy by simply going to the onboarding, to the join this page. I have the link. So now you can just look for where we have these 4 cards. Did we map them or something? We must have mapped them. You know us, we cannot. So we have the link here. So this link, I'm just going to paste this one. Okay. We already have double quotes. Okay. So just going to direct them to register with error of doctor and plan free. So this we're just going to do. Then now for the resume, okay. Now the resume, we could just initialize a form or a pop-up. Okay. At this point, we would need a pop-up, I guess. Or we just route to this to a new page. There is this this resume application. Just going to go. This would be in the onboarding. Okay, onboarding, and let's just go and say resume. It's supposed to be not a folder. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be folder. Supposed to be resume. Okay, let me just do like this. So in this onboarding, we just create a file. So it's going to be a resume page, and then page dot tsx, and just say rfc h2. You can just say h2 resume. Okay, resume application. This is the one we want just check on. Okay, we can work on check status in the future, but just work on a resume application. So first of all, if someone clicks on resume, we should redirect them to that page. Let's just see, join page, and then we just going to say resume. We just send you to onboarding, resume, simply as that. Continue application. So right now, let's see. And by the way, we could also just like take them to the other page, but they just take to them to this resume. So this one should take us to this. Okay, you can see here, resume application. Okay, and what we'd do is, I would take, if I was the one, we could just go ahead and take this. We could take a screenshot of this. Okay, we would take a screenshot of this, and let me just show you for a second. What am I doing? I just want to take a screenshot. I can use this, or I can just use a snipping. Which one is much better? I'm not sure. You could just go ahead and now snip. Does it snip like the whole page or something? So I'm just going to snip this. Yeah, that's the problem of snipping. It will snip. We're just going to use this one. Select, and I'm just going to go ahead and select this like this, and it can scroll. Okay, up to here. Capture this. I want to save it. Done. Download. Okay. I can open this. So what you just want is you could just take a photo of this. We had some. You could just like take a photo of this, something like this. Save. Okay. So what you just want is you could just make it a background of this page. I don't know which page we are on right now. This one. You could just fade it in the background or something like that. Someone, when they come, they could see like that. But what you're just going to do is getting a card and create a nice interface in here. So on this page, resume page, I'm just going to come here and create class name. So this is why you could put the BG. If you wanted, you could just go and put the BG on this. Okay. Then inside here, I'm just going to put my max width. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and create the max width of I'm going to create a max width of what? Uh, so create a max width of maybe MD. I'm not sure if this is there. Okay. And I think we could just copy the tracking, what we have for the tracking. What we have for the, let me just go and see what we have for verify page. So I'm just going to copy everything I have here. Go and paste them in this page. And then we need this form verification. I'm just going to go and duplicate it. It is here, verification. Copy this and let me rename this. So just going to name this as resume application form. Okay. And in future, we are going to use the same form for tracking. Maybe we could just call it tracking form. Just call it tracking, not just resume. So tracking, tracking application or tracking form. Just say call it tracking form. And in here, we have also to do the same thing and call it tracking form. So just say this tracking form. Okay. So what they need to do is enter simply the figures. Okay. So for this one, we're just going to see, I don't know if we should just like create this kind of to be weird if we created it like this. Let me just see, does this make sense? Remove the groupings, I guess. We don't even need a separator. we just need all of them to be at once. So you could just go and you put them direct like this, without even a separator. Even these like this without a separator. And I don't know if this takes in only the number. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So if we just have, for instance, 10, and so we have this as 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So enter tracking number here. Tracking number. Okay, just look at this how it looks like. So you have the tracking form. Just simply go to this resume. Instead, let's just say tracking form. And let's just look at the page. This is resume and it is looking like this. This is so bad. Okay. And this is only for the numbers. So you just need to get an actual form. Okay, I'm just going to get an actual form. This is only for, I think, numbers alone. Let me just see. Just a second. Let me just check. Form. Token default values. So this, I think it's just a number only. What I'm just going to do is just getting a form and then simply put it here. Okay, so here we just need a number. So I'm just going to do go chart. Okay, just go to inputs. So you could just scroll down this side and you could just go and, for instance, check the input here. Okay, you could just go to the form and then we have this one. Okay, very nice. So just copy this. Okay, so if you just wanted, we could just go ahead and just copy exactly this how it is. We replace it with ours. Okay, so I'm just going to copy the first one. I'm just going to copy the form. Okay, so where we have this form input and submit, this is the same thing. Where are we stopping? Form field, so you stop on the form. Okay, copy this. I'm just going to replace it with this whole thing here, just like that, and I don't have any errors. So just go back and I'm just going to simply copy also the, we don't want the toast. I'm just going to copy this, the form schema. Okay, just copy the form schema. Okay, and just go to the form schema on top here. So just replace this with this. Okay, so we have the username. Then we have form dot Cannot find form. Okay. Export input form. So we have a lot of other information here. So const form is here. So just go ahead and we have const form. Okay, so inside here, let's just go ahead and add. We don't need these input tokens. We're just going to see them in a minute. So here we have this form schema. We can just now create a form. So we just need to either install the input, which we already have. Okay. Okay, so now we have only one error. Where is this error here? Okay, this which is okay. So here, yes, we are okay. So I think we are good to go. We have copied whatever we want. We have function submit, which is only having the toast, and is having here the data. So on the submit, we simply have the data, okay, that is inferring the types from this. So this one is okay. Okay, so we can just go and check here. So we're going to also first check the token they have, the not the token, but the tracking. Okay, so just first look at how this looks like. Uh, uh, okay, so this looks great. Only that I'm just going to go and give it. I don't know if this form field takes a class name. Does it take a class name? It doesn't take a class name. Oh, okay. So this one, let's just give this a weight is full. Let me see. Yeah, okay, great. Uh, so this, I'm just going to copy and I just give them example. So I'm just going to copy this token and give it as a placeholder. So just going to say eg. Okay, so here I'm just going to say here tracking number, and then this we're just going to give it tracking number, the name, and if you change the name, you have to change the name everywhere because that name is important. So just come here to the form first of all on top here. So this, change this, change this. I think that's it. Okay, so must be at least 10 characters. That should be the message. Okay, so I have one error, which is this one. Data dot. So the first thing is we have in this, where we are coding this form is in the page resume. So this side we have to get first here, just say verify token, and now you can just say resume your application. Okay, so please enter the 10 figure. Okay, 10 character, not 10 figure. So you say 10 character. Okay, tracking number. Okay. You can just see here that was given to you. Okay. That was given to you in just stop there. That was given to you. As simple as that. Okay. So now we just need to pass in. So what do we need to pass in this tracking form? So we need to pass in. Do we need the role? No. What we just need is we need what are we doing here? Let's first remember. I'm just lost. Okay, so what do we want to do in here? Want a person to enter the tracking number. So he has the tracking number if he's on this. So he enters the tracking number. Then we check the tracking number if it exists. That's the only thing we need to do. We check if the tracking number, if it exists. If it doesn't exist, then we give them an error. Okay, or we just say tracking not found for this or blah blah. Okay, if it is there, then we will have to generate for them a link and we say click here to resume. I think it's a very nice interface. So we just have two things we need to show them. Let me go back to the form. So to this form, you can see we have this here. So you can just say wrong tracking number. Okay, please check your please check the number and enter again. Okay, so this is the error. Okay, or we could just have success. Okay, so here we can also say it successful. Okay, I'm just going to say okay const and just say success. So if the okay, can you say application found? Or just say it as what should we say that state? So just like for instance, we just say call it track success or tracking successful or something like that. I just say here I'm just going to call it success for now. Success set success. Okay, so use state and by default let's make this false. Okay, so now to see what we want, let's first make it true. And I think success already means something, I guess. Track is success, track is declared. Okay, yes, let's just use something else, I guess. Tracking successful or success. Set tracking successful. Okay, so you're just going to check this. If it is true, then we want to show a link. Okay, so we want to show a link here. So I'm just going to say here, if tracking is successful, so just go ahead and just generate a next link. So the next link Okay, so here this link needs href. So yes, you say click here to resume. Okay, and we could just have used a button, I guess. Like, do we use like a button or something? We could just come here and say get this from next link. You could just use a button for styling purposes. I'm just going to say button. Okay, and then just pass in as a child here. Okay, so just go and get the link, how it should look like. So the link should look like this. Okay, starting from the onboarding. So this should just look like this. I'm just going to initialize it like this. Onboarding. So this one's supposed to be the user ID. That means we need the user ID. And then the page. So there are the two things we need. We need the user ID plus the page. Okay. Great. Okay. So I think we need to set them also in the state. Okay, I'm just going to set them in the state. So I'm just going to say const user ID set user ID is use state, and by default let's make this empty, and we could just let them log in, but assuming they are not going to log in, so here we just need what else? The page. So page, then set page. Okay, just like this. So you can just come and just take advantage of those ones now. So here we're just going to say dollar user ID, and then the page is actually the page. So dollar page is equal to page. Okay, so you're good to go now. So the only thing we just need to do, where are we doing this, all this from? You're supposed to get all these from app. We just do them from here anyways. So let's just first go and make, so inside here when someone submits, okay, when someone submits this, let's first remove this. We don't need to do this if, okay, there is no any if here for now. You just need to do a try catch, and then in the try catch they just also remove everything. Okay, so what you just need to do is make a request to check. So just going to say const raise is equal to await. So just go ahead and just create this. So I'm just going to go to actions, onboarding. Let's go and get the one. Would we have get the user by ID? I'm just going to go and copy this from users. Just get user by ID. Get this. Go down here. So this one just going to say retrieve maybe just say get application by ID. No, by actually by track, by tracking number. You can say by track, just like that. So you just have to pass in a tracking number, whatever. And then if tracking number, so if tracking is there, we just have to go and say, for instance, doctor profile. So I just want to find is a doctor profile. Await Prisma dot doctor profile dot find unique where, and here we pass in the tracking number. Okay, I guess in the database, then here return. So just going to go and return it in this way. Okay, so that we can handle it very well on the front end. So return this and also return this. So here we have to return data as the doctor profile. 201, I think it is 20 now. And this one status is 500. Data null. Error is data cannot be fetched. Okay. Maybe form. Yes, yes, something went wrong. Anyways, something went wrong. So before we just do this here, if tracking, let's first check if this exists. Okay. So inside here, we're just going to first check if the tracking exists. So just say const. Okay, so just going to say existing. So this const existing profile. Okay. So just going to check here in between if existing profile, because we might just check and there is no that profile. So if no this profile, okay, if there is no existing, so we need to return. Okay, need to return a status of 404, resource not found, data null, error. We could just say tracking number. We just say wrong tracking number. Wrong tracking number. Okay, so just be checking this. If there is, we have a status of 404, we just know there is a problem. Okay, so having done this, we can just now go copy this. We go to page resume, and then let's go to tracking form. And by the way, so here I just want to remove this text. I just want to come here. Where is it? Where is it? So here, where we are making the request. So just going to see, just going to see await. I'm just going to just say this and import this, and we just simply pass in the tracking. Did we pass in the tracking? Which is actually just getting here in the data. So like data dot tracking, and they're saying what? Yeah. So just passing this, and now we wait for the response. Okay. So if the response dot status, so you can first set for the body status. So if the response dot status, okay, dot status is equal to let's first capture the 104. Okay, so you just need to go ahead and set. So we have here set show notification. Okay, so just say here set show notification, set show notification true. Okay, and then of course set is loading. Do we have the state here that is loading? It is set loading. Okay, set loading to true, maybe true or false, to false. Okay, yes, it is to false, just like that. And set this is cannot. Did you mean set? Okay, and then if this is not there, that means we are somehow successful. We can also capture another one, and we can just say if status is equal to 200. Okay, and you're just going to put errors, by the way, and we just say throw new error, and we just say something went wrong, something went wrong. Okay, something went wrong, and then you could just capture this by just say toast dot error, and then just say something went wrong, something went wrong. Try again. So you say try again, but if here we find it is not there, 400 here we set show notification. Okay, let's just go and see, and if it is 200, we just don't want to show the notification. We need to now set a lot of things. So we need to get the data. So we need to get const, we need to set actually, so set user ID, set user ID to raise dot data dot. So here we can have user ID somewhere, and then also set set page, and just going to set is raise dot data dot page. Okay, string or undefined, we can just say here by default empty. Okay, but argument type string is not sent with type set state string type is not sent to state string. What are they talking about? These strings, user ID, what do we have here? These are strings. Just because of undefined, Alternatively, we could just add this. Is it? Yeah. Let me just like add this. To mean that we are sure it will be there. Okay. So now here we are. Okay. Set user ID. This is now assertion operator to mean that we are very sure this will be there. So we want to set the page. Set the page and now set success. Set, was it success or something? Tracking success. Set tracking successful to true. Okay. And by the way, did we see how this was looking like? Because by default I was making it true. Did we check? Okay, so they have this click here to resume. I feel like we need to make this whole form disappear and then I think we don't even need, like, we could just simply route to that place. Okay. We don't need them to click one more time. I'm just going to simply copy this. Okay, I'm just going to copy this. So where you have this set page and tracking successful, all that kind of stuff, we don't need all these. Okay, we don't need all these. What we just simply need is to route. So I'm just going to say route. We could just create a router here. So const route is a router is equal to use router. I think we as if we already have it. Do we have already route or something? So just say router dot push, and I'm just going to push in this. Okay. I'm just going to push onboarding user ID. Just copy this. Okay. Even here, just copy this on the page. Just like that. Now we don't need all these states because when we successfully find, we shall redirect the person. Okay. I'm just going to comment out these. We don't need them. We just simply need to route. Maybe also to toast. Okay. Success. Okay. We just say here data retrieved. Redirecting you. Toast. I notice right now this can just get from toast. I'm just going to go ahead and I think we already have router. Okay, just remove this one. And what are the errors? We don't have any errors. Okay, we are good. So we just want to say redirecting you. Okay, and then we push them to this page, use ID to this one, and set loading to false. This one should be on top. Okay, so let's just go and try this. And this, in this case, we actually don't need, first of all, can we just first remove all these things? And we don't need the state, the user, the page, even the tracking successful. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove all these. So just only need for the error. So just go and test with a wrong tracking number. And where are we getting the error? I'm just going to go ahead and put in a wrong tracking number. The title, we have to change it. So let me just go and change this. And this is in loading. Okay, so I'm just going to change this. Submit to resume. Okay. Here we could just say fetching. Okay. So just go ahead, refresh. So you just go and get the token. So you have this token, we know it is there. This token, we know it is there. And we're just going to assume, that. So I'm just going to first put a wrong one. So this is a correct one. Let me add in more stuff. Submit. Okay. And we have two things. Something went wrong. And then we have here wrong tracking number. Please check the number and enter again. So this is a right message. Okay. Now I don't know where it is broadcasting from. It is broadcasting from. Are we getting like two on this else? What did it say? Let me just say, did it have try again? Oh, it is actually just coming this side. It is coming here this side. So let's just we leave that one. So just go and put in the right one. This one, submit. Yep. And you can see we have been resumed to where we stopped. Okay. We have been resumed to where we stopped, and that is really great. So we have achieved a lot, and this is really great. We have been redirected to the nice one. So the at least in this video, one big thing we have achieved is that we just went and generated this tracking, and all this is really, really nice. Okay, so one thing that we haven't done is maintaining the state. Okay, maintaining the state. I feel like we have done a lot already in this video. Maybe we could just do that in the next video, bringing in the state from the database, because we have the form ID. We can just go ahead and form, fetch, and preload these ones. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this episode one more time. I will just see you in the next one.